Could you survive a week living like a medieval peasant? Let's find out. But first, don't forget to subscribe to my Smart Info channel for stories like this. Imagine waking up 5 a.m. before sunrise in a damp, freezing hut. Your back aching, your stomach empty. Could you survive a single week living like a medieval peasant? If you enjoy relaxing, immersive journeys through history and want more stories about peasants, kings, strange medieval events, and quiet tales from the past, subscribe to Smart Info and let's see how long you would have lasted. Would you be able to last a week living like this? How long could you survive? The sun rises over a field of ripe wheat, beginning another day in the life of a medieval peasant. Your day begins before sunrise, as it always does. You do not know who is fighting, who will win, who will die. One day you hear that the king has died. A new king is coming to the coronation. You wonder if the new king will bring new burdens, new taxes, a new way of life. As you walk through the long and winding corridors of the castle, you can feel the weight of the rumors pressing down on you, making it hard to breathe, hard to think, hard to be. It's time to leave the world of kings and peasants and walk among the stars. And no matter how hard you try to ignore them, to push them out of your mind, they just keep coming back. They're like ghosts that haunt you, reminding you that you are not alone in this. There are others who hear them too, who feel the same fear, the same uncertainty. You are all trapped in a world where nothing is certain and everything is at risk. You do not know what the future holds, but you keep working the land, planting, harvesting, tending to the crops. The sun sets over the field of ripe wheat, beginning another day in the life of a medieval peasant. You only know that somewhere far away there is a king whose life is very different from yours.
Yes.
You hear that he is mad, that he does strange things, that he talks to himself. You do not know what it means to be mad, but you have heard the stories. Sometimes you think the king might come to your village looking for someone to talk to, someone to share his burdens with. But then he never comes. You rise, you dress, you eat a simple breakfast. Soon you're out in the field, working the land, planting, harvesting, tending to the crops. There are some who live in great castles, who wear fine clothes, who eat delicious food. There are some who live in palaces, who sleep in luxurious beds, who have servants to wait on them. But even these people have their burdens. Even these people have their problems. For one thing, there are rumors, nasty rumors, that spread through the kingdom like wildfire. People are saying strange things about the king, things that make no sense, things that sound crazy. They say the king is mad, that he talks to himself, that he sees things that are not there. They say he is a tyrant, a monster, a madman. And no one knows where these rumors started or why they won't stop. It's like a dark cloud hanging over the kingdom, making everyone uneasy, wondering what will happen next. The sun climbs higher and the work continues. You are an anonymous face in a vast field of anonymous faces. Your work is hard, monotonous, but necessary. You are part of a community, part of a world that depends on your work. Life is harsh, but it is also simple. There is no other life that you can imagine. In the distance you hear the clash of arms, the shout of a battle, the cry of a wounded man. As the years pass, you grow older, your back aches more, your hands gnarl, and your pace slows. But there are some who live very differently, and as the years pass and the rumors grow, one thing is certain: no one is safe from the whispers of madness, not even the king. Now, if you want to hear the full story of King Edward VI and the bizarre whispers that haunted him, but for now it's time to go. Welcome to the series, The King's Burden, Imagine yourself waking in the soft gray light of early dawn in a small, crooked cottage where the walls lean slightly and the roof of woven thatch sags just a little more with each passing season. The air inside is cool, thick with the faint scent of old straw. Damp earth, spring with its unpredictable rains, drowns the fields as often as it feeds them. This has been the series The King's Burden. Summer bakes the earth, turning soil to dust and sending biting flies to torment you during endless hours outdoors. Autumn, the harvest season, is a race against the failing daylight. Each evening a little shorter, the wind a little cooler. The knowledge that soon winter will come. And winter, long, dark, and lean, brings its own quiet, suffering days, spent mending broken tools by the week. Glow of the hearth scraping together enough to survive, hoping the stores will last, and praying that sickness will pass you by. The nights are perhaps the hardest. Your body, heavy with exhaustion, collapses onto a rough bed of straw. Covered with a coarse blanket, listening to the distant howls of wolves. The creaking of the wind against the wooden shutters and the muffled coughs of family huddled together in the cold. Yet within this life, there are quiet moments, brief joys, a festival that breaks the monotony, a shared joke by the fire. The soft beauty of a sunset over endless fields, reminding you that even in hardship, life endures. Such was the rhythm of a medieval peasant. Days blending into weeks, into seasons, into years. A life simple, harsh, and repetitive, lived close to the earth and ruled by forces beyond your control. And now, as the rhythm of their life quiets, we shall drift to a different story. The story of a distant king whose burdens, though different, were no less heavy. And the lingering smoke from last night's fire, which never seems to quite leave the room. The floor beneath you is not wood, but hard-packed earth, uneven beneath your bare feet, cold, even in summer, and icy in the long, brutal winters. There are no glass windows, only small wooden shutters, letting in little light but enough to see the simple wooden chest, the rough-spun tunic you pull over your shoulders, and the wooden bowl that will hold your modest morning meal. The day, like so many before it, begins early, before the sun has fully stretched itself across the horizon.
Ow.
There is no time for leisure, no concept of a restful morning. Your body, worn from years of labor, remembers its tasks before your mind fully wakes. Step outside into a village that smells faintly of livestock, damp grass, and smoke rising lazily from nearby huts. The road, little more than a muddy path, is lined with similar homes, each belonging to families like yours, tied to the land and tied to the rhythm of survival. Your first task is to tend to the animals. Perhaps a pig or two rooting noisily in their pen, or a few scraggly chickens who peck restlessly at the hardened earth. If you are fortunate, perhaps there is a goat, stubborn and lean, providing a meager supply of milk, enough to make a small cheese, enough to trade. Perhaps for a small favor, or a tool repaired by a neighbor. Breakfast is simple, always simple. A piece of coarse bread, dark, heavy, sometimes stale, dipped into a thin broth, or washed down with small beer, weak, but safer than the uncertain water drawn from the communal well. The fields call. They always call. The Lord's land must be tilled before your own. Your labor owed is part of the agreement that keeps you and your family tied to this land. You shoulder a wooden plow, perhaps led by a stubborn ox, or perhaps you plow by hand, your body serving as the beast of burden. The soil is hard, reluctant to yield, but the harvest depends on your persistence. And the harvest feeds not only your family but the manor, the church, and the taxes owed to distant powers you will never see. By midday your back aches, muscles throb with the dull soreness of repetitive toil. Your hands rough, cracked and scarred, carry the quiet stories of years spent gripping tools, pulling weeds and wrestling with stubborn earth. A short pause beneath the meager shade of a gnarled tree brings no true relief. Only a moment to chew on a bit of cheese or a small onion, before returning to work because idle hands are not permitted and the rhythm of survival does not slow. The seasons mark the passage of time, each bringing its own set of challenges. Thank you for watching. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. But what if we told you that this famous line was not found in Jane Austen's timeless novel? No, my friends. This tale begins in the heart of medieval England. The year is 1204. A mysterious epidemic has begun to spread. Citizens are gripped by an inexplicable urge to flee their homes, to abandon their possessions, and to change their names. At first, it seems like a trickle, a family here, a couple there, leaving behind the familiar routines of their lives. But soon the numbers swell. Entire communities are emptying out. Homes are being left unlocked. Fields are lying untilled. Shops are shuttered. And a profound stillness descends upon the land. What is happening? Have they all gone mad? Are they running from some unseen peril? Or have they been tempted away by some fantastical promise? The answer, dear viewers, lies in the peculiar desires of a king. For King John, our reluctant hero of today's tale, is in want of a wife, and he is willing to do almost anything to get one. As it happens, John has two problems. The first is his reputation. See, when it comes to matters of marriage, John is not exactly in high demand. Many of his contemporaries consider him a bit of a fixer-upper, volatile, unpredictable, maybe just a tad too fond of wielding the executioner's axe. So finding a suitable bride for him is proving to be a bit of a challenge. The second problem is money, rather the lack of it. King John finds himself desperately short of funds, and he needs a rich wife who will bring a hefty dowry to the union. Enter Isabella of Angoulême, a young woman who ticks all the right boxes. She's beautiful, she's young, and she's got a whopping 200,000 marks to offer. But there's a catch. Isabella is already spoken for. She's promised to marry the heir to the English throne, the future King Henry III. But King John has an idea. A bold, perhaps crazy idea. Why not marry Isabella himself? Forget about the whole heir to the throne thing. He can always disinherit the kid. After all, he did it to his own father. Yes, His Royal Highness Prince Henry, currently residing in the south of France, living the carefree life of a young nobleman. You see, John is thinking, why not declare that Henry has died, seize his lands and titles, and then marry Isabella without the pesky complications of a living heir? So that's exactly what he does. In a grand ceremony at Winchester, King John marries Isabella, assuming both the role of groom and of father. And to make this grand deception believable, he sets about getting rid of the actual Prince Henry. Thus begins a bizarre game of hide-and-seek across medieval England. The king's men scour the kingdom looking for the rightful heir, arresting anyone who helps him, and confiscating the estates of those who give him shelter. Meanwhile, the young prince, hearing of his father's death, flees for safety, eventually making his way to Normandy. There, under the protection of his uncle, King Philip of France, he grows up unaware of the machinations that have befallen him. As for the people of England, They go about their lives, wondering why their king has suddenly gone quite mad. But in time, Prince Henry returns to claim his birthright, undoing his father's hasty marriages and re-establishing the royal order. King John, having made a complete pig's ear of everything, passes his remaining days in bitter resentment, plotting, scheming, but never again exercising the kind of power he once imagined he would have. And thus ends our tale of royal intrigue and mistaken identities. But before we part ways, dear viewers, consider this. If you had lived in those times, would you have abandoned your home and hearth and started a new life under a new name? Or would you have stayed put, facing whatever challenges befell you? Let us know in the comments below. Imagine a medieval town, Strasbourg, 1518. Life there flows like the nearby Rhine River, steady, unchanging, predictable. Here, amidst the market stalls and timber-framed homes, the rhythm of planting, harvesting, praying, and surviving echoes day in and day out. For most, life is a slow, repetitive cycle. They see a woman overcome by a strange mood, an oddity that will likely pass soon enough. But hours pass, and the woman still dances. The sun dips below the horizon, but she doesn't stop. The spectacle continues. Some onlookers, unable to comprehend what they see, start to help the woman. At its peak, around 100 men and women are affected. Some whisper of a vengeful spirit, a divine punishment, or the devil's own work. Others point to the plentiful supply of wine as the source of the madness. The dancing plague disappears as mysteriously as it arrived, leaving behind a stunned silence and puzzled memories. In the end, historians are left scratching their heads too. They propose ideas, but none can fully explain the dancing plague. Was it mass hysteria, a reaction to the constant hardships of life during the late Middle Ages? Was it something more tangible, like tainted grain or a toxic fungus? Some believe it was a spiritual disturbance, a sign of the troubled times in which people felt powerless against the forces that shaped their lives. Yet others see a conspiracy, a plot to drive them to sin and damnation. They move endlessly on the hard cobblestones, their shoes worn thin, their limbs trembling, their faces slack, their eyes distant. Many collapse from exhaustion, only to rise again and continue their eerie dance. Soon, a few men join her, attempting to guide her steps, but they, too, become lost in the strange, silent choreography. Then more people join, forming a silent, shuffling procession. The dancing plague has begun. Fervor grows, but the dancing plague shows no signs of abating. Days turn into weeks, but no answer comes to quell the fears of the townspeople. Night falls, then dawn breaks, yet her feet find no rest. Her dance becomes a strange punctuation in the routine of the town. Men and women stop their work to watch her. The novelty wears off, replaced by bewilderment and a touch of fear. Bells toll from church towers, but they also mark a steady passage of time. But what if one day this rhythm is broken? What if an inexplicable event shatters the predictable routine, leaving people baffled and even more weary? Now let's bring the scene to life. Picture a summer day so hot that the cobblestone streets shimmer in the sun. The air is thick with the smell of livestock and the rattle of wagons. Amidst this, a woman appears, later called Frau Trophia. She steps into the street and begins to dance. Not a jig or a reel, but a strange, unrelenting shuffling, twitching and head-lolling in a rhythm that seems alien to her surroundings. At first, townsfolk gather, watching in quiet curiosity. As days turn into a week, physicians don their somber robes and shake their heads. They speak of hot blood, internal humors, and overheated minds. Unable to offer a solution, the town leaders try a different tactic. Musicians are hired to play drums and pipes, hoping the steady rhythm will soothe the troubled woman. But the music seems to have the opposite effect, making the dancer more frantic. This is more than a simple dance. It's become a mystery, a puzzle that doesn't fit into the neat categories of their understanding. The town square becomes a strange battleground between the human will and an unseen force. Fear tightens its grip on the town. Theories spread like wildfire, but none can extinguish the strange sight that confronts them daily. To combat this, religious leaders call for processions, prayers, and pilgrimages to holy sites. And just as suddenly as it began, it ends. But what do you think? What could have caused such a strange and terrifying phenomenon? Share your thoughts. Have you ever dreamed of escaping the hustle and bustle of modern life, stepping back in time and experiencing a simpler way of living? What if you could do so by stepping into the shoes of a medieval nobleman? Your mornings began not with the harsh ring of an alarm, but with the soft glow of dawn seeping into your chamber. The chill of the early hours was banished by thick stone walls, and a roaring fire kept burning in the hearth. Managing a domain required skill and foresight. Crops needed tending, livestock must be cared for, and there were always matters of trade and taxes to consider. It was a world where tradition and duty were paramount, where the rhythms of nature dictated much of daily life, and where the bonds of family and community were as strong as the castle walls that protected them. Hopefully you enjoyed this glimpse into the past and can appreciate the comfort of your own bed a little more, knowing that some of the greatest luxuries in life are the simplest, like the gentle touch of a soft blanket, the warmth of a comfortable mattress, and the comforting hush of a quiet room. Sweet dreams, my friends. May your night be peaceful and your days filled with joy. Until next time. It was a world where one could truly feel like a king or queen, even if only for a day. The threat of rival lords and the ever-present dangers of war could loom on the horizon. These responsibilities, along with the pressure to maintain your family's honor and prestige, created a life far from leisurely. The air was alive with the scent of wood smoke and the faint aroma of breakfast wafting from the kitchens below. Servants would have already risen, tending to the small details that made your life comfortable. They would have stoked the fire, ready to start the day's cooking. And soon, the gentle clink of dishes would announce the arrival of your morning meal. Picture this. You awaken in a grand chamber within a towering castle. Gone are the jarring sounds of traffic and machinery, replaced by the gentle murmur of servants moving about their tasks. As the first rays of sunlight peek through the high windows, you stretch and yawn, feeling no need to hurry. Your day will unfold at its own pace, much like it did for those who lived within these ancient walls. A member of the nobility, your life revolved around managing your land and ensuring your family's legacy. Your day would be filled with activities befitting your status. Perhaps you would stroll through manicured gardens, enjoying the tranquility of nature. If the season allowed, you might take a hunting party into the vast forests surrounding your domain. The thrill of the chase would echo the excitement of medieval sport. Back at the castle, your evenings might be filled with music, poetry, and lively conversation during feasts in the great hall. Here the finest foods would be served on silver platters, and the air would buzz with the energy of lords and ladies who were gathered for merriment and maybe even a bit of matchmaking. Sometimes, though, the seriousness of your responsibilities would intrude even upon these lighter moments. Important guests might arrive bearing messages from distant courts, or perhaps a visiting lord would be eager to discuss the latest battle or political intrigue. Life in a medieval castle might sound enchanting, but it was also marked by constant challenges. Despite the challenges, Life in a medieval castle held a certain charm. And now, dear listener, it's time for you to step back into your own time. And so our journey through the forgotten rhythms of the Middle Ages comes to a close. We have walked the worn paths of the medieval peasant, felt the weight of endless labor, the simplicity and the quiet endurance that marked their days, a rhythm of struggle, of survival, of fleeting joys and quiet sorrows, a rhythm that echoed in every stone cottage, every royal court, every bustling town and lonely road. We have stood in the shadowed halls of a troubled king, witnessing the slow unraveling of power and pride. We have gazed upon the strange and puzzling mystery of dancing feet and restless souls, the faint strains of a mother's song as she rocked her babe to sleep, the murmur of a nighttime prayer, the whisper of a lover's vow, the echo of a ballad, a story told to chase away the dark. For in the quiet tapestry of sleep, we are all connected. Let the cares of the day melt away like wax before a gentle fire. Let the rhythm of the night carry you to peaceful shores. And when you wake, refreshed and renewed, carry with you the quiet strength that comes from knowing you have walked the paths of history and slept beneath the watchful gaze of the stars. The medieval souls who sought solace in the darkness and the modern heart that finds comfort in the night. We are linked by an invisible thread, bound together by the shared experience of existence, of living and sleeping under the same vast sky. These are the harmonies of the past, weaving themselves into the fabric of your dreams. And we have reclined in the sheltered comfort of noble life, where soft fabrics and rich banquets shape the hours. The rhythm of life, the pulse of existence, the heartbeat of the world. It is a timeless melody that has been played since the beginning and will continue to be played long after we are gone. So sleep well and good night. Through it all, one quiet truth lingers, that across the centuries, life in all its forms carried its own rhythm. Now as you rest, safely distant from those harsh fields, from the weight of crowns, from the mysteries and burdens of long-forgotten lives, you can allow yourself to sink into the softness of your own space. And as the past drifts further and your eyelids grow heavier, remember the rhythm of life has always been there. The sunrise and the sunset, the changing of the seasons, the ebb and flow of human hearts, all set to an ancient tune. Even now, as you drift off, you are not merely resting, you are participating in this timeless melody. Your breath, your heartbeat, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. These are the instruments of your own existence playing their quiet notes. No harsh winters, no endless toil, no heavy demands, only the gentle quiet of the present and the slow, soothing breath of rest. May the quiet footsteps of history guide you gently into sleep. And if you listen very carefully, you might just hear the ghosts of medieval lullabies carried on the wind. And as the night deepens and the dreams take flight, know that you are not alone. So go now, weary traveler, and lose yourself in the soft embrace of sleep. For in the end, we are all storytellers in the grand narrative of time. Our individual tales, though small, are part of a much larger whole. If you enjoyed this calm and deep journey into history, then make sure to subscribe to Smart Info. Join us as we continue exploring the quiet stories of the past, helping you drift gently into sleep each night. And don't forget to like and comment on your favorite videos. Love hearing what you have to say. Till our next journey together, stay relaxed and sleep well.